Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. Happy New Year. The story that takes the lead in today's edition for Wednesday, 1st January 2025, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group. A state of emergency has been declared in Trinidad and Tobago. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Welcome back. President of Trinidad and Tobago, Christine Kangaloo, on the advice of the Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley, declared the state of emergency on December 30th. Details in this comprehensive TTT news report.
During a press conference following the announcement, Acting Attorney General, Senior Counsel Stuart Young, outlined the seriousness of the decision made under Section 8 of the Constitution. He said it resulted from intelligence provided by the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service pertaining to activities by criminal gangs, including reprisal killings.
The criminal gangs, via the use of high-powered assault weapons and other illegal firearms in areas of Trinidad and possibly Tobago, are likely to immediately increase their brazen acts of violence in reprisal shootings on a scale so extensive that it threatens persons and will endanger public safety.
The acting AG reiterated that there is no intention at this time to enforce a curfew. He said the target of this national public state of emergency is those who engage in activities with criminal intent of endangering public safety through the use of illegal firearms.
The police service will be given the powers to search premises without warrants, to search persons without warrants who they have suspicions of carrying out criminal activities, a lot of it associated with illegal firearms, and also to detain persons for periods of time. The regulations are setting out the process and the procedure. We're going to have a 48-hour holding period where persons can be held under these regulations. Thereafter, either a magistrate or a senior police officer can make an order of detention for another 7 days whilst evidence is being gathered with respect to persons held under the state of emergency regulations.
Giving probable cause statistics from the TTPS, Minister of National Security Fitzgerald Hines indicated as of December 26th, there were 551 incidents of murder with 614 victims. He further explained that 93 of them were incidents with more than one victim. There were 33 double homicides, 8 triple homicides, 4 quadruple homicides, and 1 quintuple homicide, all of which contributed to the declaration of the public emergency.
It will give the police service, supported by the defense force, the leverage to fight back against these trends on your behalf, the law-abiding citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. The way the regulations are going to be structured, as you would have heard Minister Young elucidate, are intended to deal specifically with the lawless and the lawbreakers.
Members of the public are being urged to rely on 3 main sources of information to decrease the possibility of misinformation: the Office of the Prime Minister Communications, the Ministry of National Security, and the Office of the Attorney General. Jason John, TTT News.
The Tobago House of Assembly has described the proclamation of a state of emergency as a knee-jerk reaction. Following the announcement on Monday, Chief Secretary Farley Augustine held a press conference. Here's more.
Chief Secretary Farley Augustine believes the country needs more than a state of emergency to tackle the issue of crime.
At this point, we are not very confident that this will result in any meaningful change in direction or change in what will happen, save and except that the police will now be empowered to arrest people by circumventing some of the usual human rights issues that are enshrined in the Constitution. So that should give the police an advantage.
Mr. Augustine highlighted this year, 2024, Tobago recorded the highest murder rate and questioned the timing of government's decision to call a state of emergency.
We trust and we hope that the security services will not, during this period, abuse their powers or abuse the authority now conferred upon them, and with the suspension of the constitutional rights of citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. So it means that we will require that the police officers with these additional powers, that they be very judicious, that they be fair in how they manage the state of emergency.
Mr. Augustine said he plans to meet with law enforcement agencies on these concerns and outline what support the THA can offer. The Tobago House of Assembly's Minority Council has expressed their support for the government's decision to enforce a nationwide state of emergency.
The government's decision to declare a state of emergency is a necessary step to address this crisis head-on. I also appreciate the attempts to strike a balance between ensuring the safety of citizens and protecting the economy and the livelihoods of our people. But we must remain hopeful.
The minority leader believes that amidst the inconveniences that may come with the regulations, citizens should recognize it is for greater good. He noted law enforcement agencies play a critical role in the success of this decision.
This is a chance for law enforcement to step up and really go after those fueling the violence. At the same time, we must trust this move is part of a bigger plan to tackle the deeper issues driving crime, like our porous borders that allow illegal guns and drugs to flow in, money laundering that fuels gang activity, and the perceived lack of opportunities that many youths are citing as an attractive prospect for them in the life of crime.
Carissa Douglas, TTT News.
Thanks, Carissa. The Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce has expressed its support for the declaration of a state of emergency, stating that it is a necessary measure for the public's best interest in light of the ongoing crime crisis. However, it emphasizes that the SOE should not be seen as a standalone solution to the country's crime problem. In a media statement, the TT Chamber described the SOE as an opportunity for national security forces to address the situation head-on with the hope of restoring some degree of normalcy to our society. The organization stressed that while it is an important step, the state of emergency must be part of a broader strategy for combating crime. The TT Chamber reiterated its commitment to support national efforts to tackle the crime issue and called on all stakeholders to collaborate towards creating a safer country. Also, the Trinidad and Tobago Coalition of Services Industries, the TTCSI, is encouraged by government's assurance that the implementation of a state of emergency will not disrupt economic activities. In a media release, the TTCSI said it is pleased that there is no curfew at this time, which allows law-abiding citizens and businesses to continue their operations uninterrupted. It noted that by targeting criminal elements while preserving the operations of businesses and industries, this initiative strikes a crucial balance between national security and economic stability. The TTCSI said crime affects all facets of society, noting that a secure environment is critical to fostering growth and investment, and commended the government for implementing measures that will help to restore confidence among local and international customers and stakeholders.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick in association with our friends at
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
St. Lucia has recorded its highest ever homicide toll with 77 lives lost to gun violence in 2024. Zane Romulus of the DBS News World reports.
Flowers left next to a blood-stained spot marked the area where Niam Calendar drew his last breath. The lifeless body of the 25-year-old was found along Mark Bexor Road about 2:45 a.m. on Saturday, December 28th. His body was riddled with bullets. A dark cloud now hangs over his mother, who mourns the death of her son, affectionately known as Sunshine. The police have launched an investigation into the circumstances surrounding the death of Niam Calendar. His mother too wants answers. 2 years ago, Calendar survived an attempt on his life. However, this time he would not be so fortunate. With this murder, the island has reached the highest number of homicides in recorded history in a year, which has seen the largest injection of resources into the Royal St. Lucia Police Force by the government. As St. Lucians prepare to ring in a new year, the hope is that this figure does not rise any higher and that the violent crime wave does not spill over into 2025. An expectation also shared by Calendar's mother. At the recent commissioning of a mobile police unit, Prime Minister and Minister for National Security, Philip J. Pierce, spoke to the responsibility of all citizens in combating the crime situation. While St. Lucia grapples with this unprecedented incidence of gun violence over in Trinidad and Tobago, a state of emergency was declared Monday by the Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley, as a result of heightened criminal activity. The state of emergency was announced after a weekend of violence which saw 5 men massacred in one night. Just 2 days prior, Dr. Rowley, in a post on Facebook, lamented the country's rate of violent crime, calling for more action by the police, judges, and the family members of criminals. The Twin Island state has recorded at least 620 murders for the year, an unprecedented number. During the second edition of CARICOM's Regional Symposium on Violence as a Public Health Issue in November, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago reported progress on various security and law enforcement initiatives to combat crime in the region. He declared there would be no safe harbor for criminals once these initiatives are implemented. For the DBS News World, St. Romulus reported.
CVM's Tricia Gay Kelly tells us that Jamaica's police commissioner sends a stern warning to all criminals.
The Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, is celebrating many wins as the force reflects on its work in 2024. The review highlights a reduction in major crimes including murders, rapes, and robberies across the island, an achievement which Commissioner of Police Dr. Kevin Blake lauds. He says going into 2025, members of the public can feel safe in public spaces and go about their business with confidence.
Throughout 2024, we continued to refine our operational strategy, integrating it closely with the work of the intelligence community. This has enabled us to identify, target, and apprehend high-risk offenders who pose significant threats to public safety. To those offenders who believe they can evade the reach of justice, let me be clear. We know who you are, and our resolve will not waver.
This commitment, he adds, can be attributed to the force's efforts to increase police presence in towns and other major public spaces.
Our ability to maintain law and order has been significantly bolstered through enhancement to our policing capabilities. A key initiative in this regard has been the launch of the Beat Officer Patrol Division. What began in Kingston and St. Andrew has now expanded to 12 divisions with 361 members, including 184 from Peace Headquarters deployed in Jamaica's urban centers.
The Beat Officer Patrol Division initiative began in March of this year and falls under the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement branch in the force. Dr. Blake says it's been quite effective over the past few months.
This initiative has brought a renewed sense of visibility, accessibility to policing, particularly in high traffic and high risk areas. Beat officers have helped to deter criminal activities and have been instrumental in building trust with the public through their consistent engagement in the business community.
In addition, the commissioner says even more police officers will be patrolling public areas with the renovation of some of the force's resources.
We have modernized our bike patrol unit with the introduction of new e-bikes. These e-bikes have proven to be versatile and efficient, allowing officers to navigate challenging terrains and congested areas while maintaining the agility and responsiveness needed to address criminal activities effectively.
The JCF is also anticipating even further reductions in major crimes next year as the security force ramps up efforts to restore public order. Trisha G. Kelly, CVM News.
From us here at Caribbean Perspective, we wish you a healthy, productive, and well-deserved, prosperous 2025 and beyond. I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so glad to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.